It's a talk that isn't about the reps and sets. We've heard that in some other talks and other lectures and so forth, and that's important. In order for me to be able to tell you why I'm doing it and how I'm doing it, all right, and looking at a strategy that may be different than other people might be seeing, you got to know where it comes from. But there's a fundamental question here for you guys in this audience and so forth, and should you be part of a discussion? Should you be a part of implementation of rehab strategies? I think you should be, because I work with a lot of strength coaches and we teach them to be excellent rehab practitioners. We know there are limitations that can take place and what you can and can't do medically, legally and things, but we got to break that barrier. Not get around the laws and the bylaws, but getting closer together to work together that way. All of you are going on a journey. You're either starting it, you're in it, you're deep into it, on a professional journey. And with that, you're going to have experiences, you're going to see evidence, and you're going to have examples that help frame this. Everybody goes maybe at a little bit different way through these three things. For me, for sure, I got my first job. I gained a lot of experience, had a lot of injuries. And then I started networking with colleagues and started discovering really interesting examples. I started seeing different things that I hadn't done that could help me, much of like maybe you're doing at this conference. And then I went after the evidence, meaning I looked at the research clearly and closely. And what was happening in my journey was the research was supporting and helping to define what I have been doing. Not dictating how I should do things, meaning this is an evidence-based research protocol, you have to do it this way. It was more, now I'm starting to see things that explain both things that were wrong and things that were right that I was doing. So the art and science come together. And then we make these connections. And as you make these connections, you begin to develop what your process is, what your model, how you approach working with the athletes. 34 years, I've been at it. That's a lot of different things to do. I started with it, and it's important on how I look at a model of reconditioning as a physical education student for about 3 years. I played soccer in university, hurt my ankle, met the athletic trainers, and that made a connection to me. And so I studied sports medicine, became a certified athletic trainer. The first job I had was at a ski racing academy in the state of Vermont. It's in the Northeast. It's snowy. It's lovely up there. And that stayed there for 14 years. And I came in as an athletic trainer. We had a lot of injuries. So I needed to know something different. I needed a different example. So my example was they didn't teach me shit about rehab as an athletic trainer, basically. So I went to the National Strength and Conditioning Association's convention, and that was an aha moment. It was, this is a different way to look at rehab. Also, obviously, performance training and strength training and conditioning, of course, but I went there to look at different rehab strategies, and then quickly started to realize is with the high injury rates, I needed to stop those injury rates. So basically, I took over the entire process of all the prevention. I became this performance coach. Before that wasn't even a word as a performance coach at the time. And we went from my first 6 years, 3.5 ACLs a year for the first 6 years, to 0.5 ACLs a year for the next 6 years. Now, I mention ACLs because I do a lot of work in knee rehabilitation. But we can, in this conversation, talk about ankle injuries, hamstring injuries, Achilles tendon pathology, shoulder injuries. If I keep saying knees, and a lot we'll be referencing about knees, you can keep sending this in other directions because it applies.